So let me get this straight. A movie, a video game, a book, animation, a comic is released and based on one of your favorite IPs, and then you're so excited, the trailer drops, you think it's the best thing ever, and then boom, the internet hits, and all you can hear is woke, 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 woke. Wow. Now you're confused. You don't even know what the hell they're talking about. What are they talking about? Woke? How? What is woke? What are we doing? And then there's all the content creators and pundits and commentators and writers who are constantly saying it.
Who had received for Nike apparently being woke. They care so much about
some of the other issues, because a lot of it was content related problems. You talk about what is woke, but there's other issues that I had with comic books as well.
Yeah, well, guess what? Fucking pronouns!
Many observers have made the point that the woke inevitably eat their own, and that's true.
She had a good time while she was in college, like every other person. But now, to survive in woke culture, you have to become a liar. You have to pretend that you think
Anheuser-Busch
that is
president
people.
is now predicting that companies have learned a hard lesson this past year. Get woke.
When woke was a good thing, when woke was something.
We have another great get woke, go broke situation. This comes out of...
Let's go over the top 5 woke Hollywood disasters of 2023.
Years, because the lies that Disney told about her, you still have these woke fucking degenerate freaks having a million...
Jordan Peterson's extremely intelligent. The woke left are full of hate. They weaponize virtue to pretend they care about others.
And while I'm pointing all this out, I just want to make it very clear that I have never grifted on. Black Girl Magic.
What makes you think that I'm an answer if you ain't mine? Even if you call me.
Welcome back. Guys, I had to put on my Wilson Fisk attire because I needed to let y'all know that I mean business this time, okay? We got to define what the hell it even means to be woke. What is the word? Why has it changed? We got to go over it. Now, as of the time of this recording, we are currently at 6,585 subscribers. I want to say I appreciate all of the new subscribers, but go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because we are pushing towards 10K subscribers this year, and I want you to be a part of it. Now, woke. What does it mean to be woke? What is the definition of woke? Well, in order to define it, we're going to have to go back to the past and figure out what did it originally mean. I mean, you know, what was the start of it? Because it wasn't always a negative connotation with it. I think it's very important to define the word woke, especially for our side of the internet, because quite frankly, every time something remotely goes the other way, we start screaming that shit from the top of the mountains. And admittedly, there is a little bit of a grift going on, but it's not from clout chasing. It's from a position of trying to fight against what we're facing in like Hollywood and video games and just media in general. You know, it seems like everything is turning to woke, and thus everything's turning to trash. So what is the original definition of what it meant to be woke? So if you go to Merriam-Webster's definition of what it means to be woke, it says aware of and actively attentive to important societal facts and issues, especially issues of racial and social injustice. Yeah, I would say that. I would say woke means pretty much being aware of social issues plaguing society at all. Now, there's a good version of this, right? You know, you can be woke and you can also be active in attending to your wokeness, right? If you were a white guy and you're the CEO of a company, you've probably been made aware of systemic racism. Now, systemic racism is a thing. I don't know how prevalent it is, but it is a thing. You got people in high places who make decisions that determine the financial the financial well-being of many cultures and, you know, communities and things like that, who have hiring practices that don't promote any sort of diversity whatsoever. So if you're a CEO of a company and you've been recently woke, right? You probably look at your company like, damn, we got a lot of white people. And so you would go back, not that you would actively do this, but you would pay more attention to your hiring processes. So you would go back and you would look at some of your candidates in the past and maybe during the present, and you would probably notice that, hey, you know, you got white guys and girls. What the hell did I just say? White guys and girls who were hired despite the fact that there were other candidates of color, whether it's black, Hispanic, Indian, or whatever the case may be, who were more qualified to do that job. So ultimately what you would do is to kind of hold your company accountable, you would speak to those managers and ask them, hey, what was the thinking here? Like, what made you hire this person over that person, despite the fact that that person was more qualified to do the job? And if the answer that you get isn't satisfactory enough, you would take action by probably terminating those individuals because, well, they're not what you want to, build a empire on. Now, there's the other part of being woke, or the new definition of being woke. You won't find this on the internet, but I've tried to define it the best way I possibly can. But I would define it as the state of having an abrasive and invasive ideology with the intent to force upon others. I'll repeat that again. The state of having an abrasive and invasive ideology with the intent of forcing upon others. Okay? Now you can take this anywhere you want to take it. Politics, government, stuff like that. But I kind of want to focus on our corner of the internet. That's movies, video games, comic books, whatever the case may be, animation, anime, all of that. That's what we want to focus on. And going back to the CEO analogy, today's modern version of being woke would be if that CEO decided to strip his entire company and implement rules and regulations that promote hiring people that are not even qualified for the job for the sake of diversity and equity and inclusion and stuff like that. That's not what you want. So when we talk about in the context of movies and video games, we can talk about something as recent as DICE's Battlefield 5. Remember Battlefield 5? The game where they tried to convince you that women were in World War II doing their thing? And then it was discovered that they had sort of like a celebration behind closed doors to celebrate the release of the game. They were pretty much shitting on the audience like, we don't care what they think, women, World War II, and all of this. And the game flopped. There's more examples. Tomb Raider. Recently, there's been a controversy surrounding Tomb Raider and the way that she was depicted in the early games. There's been a remaster of the early games where you got, Lara Croft and all of her sexiness. You get what I'm saying? And then the pansy asses that Crystal Dynamics came back and denounced the representative of what Lara Croft was during that time, as if we care. This is a state of being woke. There's some more examples. Take the Terminator movie, Dark Fate, or others will call Woke Fate. All of these things have agendas. It's to invade on what you believe in, to force you to believe what they want you to believe. This is what it is. See, there's no problem with putting your agenda in a film. There is, but let's just say for the sake of argument, there's no problem. If you do it, that's fine as long as you understand that the consequences is we don't have to like it. But see, when you're woke, in this context, rejection is not an option. Alternatives are not an option. This is why we call it woke Hollywood. Because woke Hollywood does not want you to have other options. They don't want you to have the option of saying, I don't like this content, so let me go and watch stuff that I want to watch. I talked about this with Joe Russo in the Chris Stuckman video yesterday. They gatekeep the industry and make sure that no one else with an ideology different from their own can participate. Talk about a film such as Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, whatever the case. Black people are some of the most homophobic people. If there is homophobia, Black people might be some of the most homophobic. Even the ones that pretend that they're accepting of it, Black women are really not that accepting of it. So when you make a film like Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse and the lead is a Black male, which sure is going to get a lot of young Black men in the audience, right? But you decide to sneak in a trans flag in there, knowing that Black people are some of the least accepting of LGBTQIA, I think that's how you say it, principles in their community. You can't be doing that because you think they're going to love it, right? So what would be the motive of sliding that in there? It's because you have an agenda. Your intent is to continuously poke these things in there in hopes that eventually it will penetrate the community and spread wide. That's what you want. And the simple fact of the matter is when people tell you that they don't like these things, and instead of going back to the drawing board and saying, okay, well, let's just go where we're loved and let's just make content for the people that love us. Instead, you try to force it upon people by labeling them derogatory terms, labeling them things that will get them fired, that will make them unhireable, make them appear negative in the media. That's invasive. That's abrasive. That's not an ideology that Americans want. And so that's what it means to be woke in the context of media. It has to stop. It does. It really does. It has to stop. Because this is not helpful for anyone, because your movies, your video games, your books, your comic books, your manga, or what? No, not manga. Everything you make is falling apart. The executives don't know what the hell going on because they don't pay attention to the internet like that. And so they're trying to figure out what the hell is going on, and they're going to replace you with AI. When in reality, there are people out here who really can make good stories that aren't woke, that we don't need AI for. But because we're going to end up getting AI. So shit has to stop, okay? You saw earlier, we covered a story where Amazon fired their writers for the Silk series, and they wanted to focus more on a male skewing audience because of what happened at Madam Web. Madam Web isn't necessarily woke as far as what it's saying on screen, but the idea of it is woke. Why? Because you created this movie despite everything that it's telling you in the statistics that women don't go and see movies like this. You continuously try to make it all female cast, female heroes, heroes, and it flops. And you're going to do it again because you want to force people to accept it. I don't know. You guys tell me what you think. I'll talk to y'all a little bit later.
Black girl magic. Beat that thing down like you started attention, my baby. You had some plans with your man, just tell him to cancel, my baby. Slide to the crib like Dracula's mansion, my baby.